What's up everybody, it's CJ and I'm back with another Barnacle Bay renovation video, and today we're going to be furnishing Goldbeard's gym. So this is the gym in Barnacle Bay. You may remember a couple weeks ago I mentioned there was a build that I did not want to furnish, or I think I said I started on it but I kind of gave up. It was this build, y'all. This build is just a lot. So my biggest issue is not even that it's ugly, because it's not really that bad in the grand scheme of things. I've seen worse EA builds before. It's the fact that it's really big and empty for the most part. And I understand, I know especially with the Sims 4, they have to, have object limitations for performance and stuff like that. Maybe they had the same kind of philosophy for Sims 3, but my thing is if that's the case, why make these builds so big? You know what I'm saying? Why do they always have to be multiple stories? I would rather have a small build that's nicely furnished than a big build that's empty, right? Because when it's empty, it's just I don't know. It feels incomplete and it just doesn't look that good all the time. Sometimes in certain builds, it's good to have free space, but this was not one of them in my opinion, especially for a gym. Say for example, you play in this world and you don't have a lot of money and you can't afford exercise equipment, then you would have to come here to work out, right? But there's only a couple pieces of equipment here, so it's just what's the point? This is supposed to be the de facto place in the world to go work out, and there's hardly anything in here. That's kind of crazy. There is a pool at least, but that's kind of crazy, y'all. So my biggest goal was to, one, make this look a lot better, and two, to have a lot of stuff here, because like I said, y'all, this is supposed to be the de facto place to work out. So I wanted there to be a lot of ways that you can get your athletic skill up. So I made sure to include as much as I could. I kind of hate the fact that I couldn't use the rock climbing walls, because I really wanted to use those. For those kind of builds, I think you need to have constrained floor elevation turned on, because you need to have a higher height for the walls and stuff. Otherwise, it's gonna clip through, and I didn't really want it to clip, so we couldn't use a rock climbing wall today. But maybe in the future we might use it somewhere. Who knows? But yeah. So the first thing I did before we tackle the inside is that I fixed the outside. One thing I feel not a lot of people really utilize is landscaping when it comes to fixing bad builds, because trust me, I know not everyone is a builder, but sometimes if you can just put enough nice landscaping around it, you can kind of cover up a lot of the imperfections and just things that don't really look that nice when it comes to building. So I'm using a lot of the palm trees from the base game. I'm also using some other palm trees. I believe these are from the Island Paradise pack, and I really like them. I never really used them, but I love the way they look. They take up a good amount of space and they just look really tropical, and it kind of just fits the theme of the world. So I definitely had to use those low-lying palm trees today. I'm gonna probably use those some more in other builds now, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, so I'm using the hedge object from Into the Future. I'm using that fence from Into the Future as well, and then I'm kind of just going in now, just adding some different wallpaper in different windows. I like those big windows that the original build had. Those were the ones from the base game. I like them, but they had that little piece in the middle, and I wanted something a little bit more seamless. I kind of wanted something slightly modern, maybe the Goldbeards, they're funding a renovation, so I wanted something a little bit more modern for this build. I also added this little roof with these columns outside just to kind of fill in space, and also just to kind of make it look a little bit more fancy, because I feel the front of the building was just kind of flat, and I was we kind of need something to break it up. So I put a sign, I put an extra roof, I did these makeshift columns, and then of course I did draw in a little fence, a little modern fence for it. And then I'm going back now. This is the back of the lot, by the way, and I realized that is where the parking lot is. So instead of using tile, the floor tiles, I went in and I'm just recoloring it with the terrain tool. I'm going in now, just adding some more hedges back here. I move a lot of these trees over. I do delete some of them, but I did keep one of the ones back here, and I'm adding some more of the landscaping that I use from the front of the building, just so everything could be more uniform. I do go back after the video was finished to add another palm tree back here, because I noticed that we had a little extra space that was empty. But in all, I think the landscaping looks pretty nice, and like I said, it does kind of help fill in some of the blockiness of the build, because this build is really blocky. I don't know if any of y'all ever asked, but if you were wondering why I don't really change a lot of the outside when I do renovations, it's because usually I try to use what EA gave us, and I just try to make it better. Sometimes you do have to delete stuff and just kind of redraw it, but I try to use what's giving and just kind of make it a little bit better, so you can still tell that it is what it used to be. I guess more like a renovation you would probably see somewhere. So yeah, that's why I didn't really change too much, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is true, but I feel this lot is asymmetrical. That might actually be true, I don't know, but it feels like it's not symmetrical. So that's kind of why I didn't really even stuff out. I just wanted to kind of use what was given to me. But now we move on to the inside of the build, y'all, and ooh, it was a time. This is the part I was kind of dreading the most. See, the outside was easy. This was not really that easy, but the more I looked at it and the more I just changed things, it kind of all came together. This is where the lobby, the front desk area is. This is also where the pool is, and then we have some lounge chairs out here in a bathroom with some showers. So there's only like 2 bathrooms on the lot. I didn't really include any upstairs like the original build had, but you'll see why in a little bit. So one of the first things I wanted to do for down here is to not draw so much attention to the pool. So I'm using a half wall to kind of circle it in a little bit. I knew for a fact I also wanted to have a kitchen type of area down here, so I am making one over here in the corner by the bathrooms. Now in The Sims 3, you're not allowed to place a stove that's not on a residential lot, and I think that's maybe so that Sims can't start fires, I guess. So there's no stove on this lot, but there is a fridge. I do use a coffee machine, there's a sink, and then I thought about using the wood fire oven, but I was like, that might be a little bit too much for a gym lot. So at least your Sims can get quick meals. They can also drink coffee and drink water and stuff like that. And or if you want to download this and add some more stuff, feel free to, but I didn't really want to add too much. I thought about putting some food stands out, but I was like, maybe that's a little bit too much for a gym, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if any of y'all ever think about this, but like, I know in real life a lot of gyms do tend to have pools in them so you can work out and swim and stuff, but I feel like whenever it's done in The Sims, especially The Sims 3, it just always kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, because it's like, okay, in The Sims 3, as a lot of y'all know, we have an actual pool lot designation, and then we have a gym, but a lot of the gyms in the game will have pools. So to me, it's like, why would I go to the pool lot when I could just go to the gym lot that has a pool, so I could just do 2 things at once? Like, I know they have different vibes, but to me it's just always kind of interesting how that's done in The Sims 3. And then even more so in this world, because literally, y'all, the community pool lot in this world is right down the street from the gym. So it's just like, you know, like, again, I know they're different vibes. I know. But it's just always funny to me because it's like, bro, we literally have like a pool down the street. But hey, maybe you come here to work out, you go to the other one to lounge, you know? But anyway, maybe one day soon we'll tackle the pool lot because it's not really that bad. I looked at it earlier, but it's not really that bad. Maybe I might fix it one day. But now everything down here, y'all, is starting to take shape. I'm having my front desk area. We have our kitchen area, a little lobby area. I'm really loving this pattern with the tropical leaves and flowers on them. So I make sure to use that in here on this really big rug by the front door. I'm also using some of those lights from the Into the Future pack to go on the walls. It just kind of gives this lot a more like modern aesthetic. And I just gotta say, y'all, I love the furnishing style I did this time around. I know it's kind of similar to some of my other ones, but I kind of feel like it has a perfect balance of modern, but it's also kind of cozy in a way, like with the warm beige kind of colors and brown tones, and I just think it looks so nice. So now we kind of move on to the bathrooms, and y'all, I don't know what I was trying to do at first. You'll see that I had like a wall. I was trying to have like a little privacy area where you could shower and use the bathroom, so Sims wouldn't like shoot each other out. But then I realized that like this room is not that big. And I was like, CJ, it could work, but I'm like, is that a good use of space? Probably not. So I got rid of whatever I was trying to do, and I did include 2 bathroom stalls and 2 showers in each of the bathrooms. So at least with the stalls, Sims can go in there and other Sims can shower, so there is a little bit of privacy still. Yeah, I don't know what I was trying to do at first, y'all, but it was ambitious. You know, CJ from that time was a different person. Yeah, I even tried to have like a little archway here to kind of like lead into it, but I was like, no. And then I guess I thought about it. I was like, CJ, just use the bathroom stalls because like it'll do the same thing. Both of the bathrooms have bathroom stalls. There's also the countertops from the base game, and then I'm using the sinks from the Into the Future pack. And then I also use that modern mirror from base game. The wallpaper I'm using, I think, is from Generations, I think, or it could be from Ambition. I think it's from Generations though. So I'm using like a slightly tropical wallpaper. I didn't really want the inside of this lot to be like super tropical and nautical. Just kind of have like a little bit of touches here and there, right? So we have the wallpaper, the nice plants outside, some of the plants inside. I do use an aquarium upstairs, so it has some callbacks to Barnacle Bay. It's not like a strictly tropical lot, if that makes sense. So now we move upstairs, y'all, and this is where the original bathrooms were. I knew for a fact I had to bulldoze these because no. I do draw some rooms upstairs, but they're not bathrooms. The reason why I didn't really want bathrooms upstairs is because I just felt like we really didn't need it. Like, this lot is kind of big, but I just kind of felt like I would rather put other things upstairs in that space than a bathroom, you know? I just feel like usually my Sims don't have to wait that long to go to the bathroom in The Sims 3 if there's other Sims in there. And to me, it's like if they're taking too long, I just reset them and then my Sims can go in, you know? So I just wanted to have something else in this space. So I decided to make both of these rooms into saunas. So you will need some store content for this build, y'all, if you couldn't tell already. I mean, this Barnacle Bay is the Sims 3 world from the store, so you know, but yeah, you're gonna need some store content for this kind of build because I use quite a bit of things. I didn't really go overboard, but I did use quite a bit. So you will need the sauna objects. Those are from I think they came with that Serenity Retreat set from the Sims 3 store. They also come with the gold set of Sunlit Tides, I believe, so you will need that as well. But I do use 2 saunas in here, that way, you know, more Sims can use the sauna. And also the funny thing about the sauna is that it comes with like a tub attached to it, so you know, it's dual purpose. I also realized too, y'all, that we had these front desk areas, but I didn't really have a computer at them. And since I'm using these countertops, you can't really put computers at these countertops. So I had to like basically use a table from the seasons pack, and I had to like move objects kind of into the counter space. So you'll see a little bit later, I didn't really know what to do with this angled piece, so I was like, what can I put there? And I was like, oh, a front desk. But then at first I wanted to use like an archway to have this be like the entryway to the weight room, but then I was like, no, it didn't really look right. I tried to like redraw out the wall, it still didn't look right. So in the end, I used 2 archways, and then I'm like kind of mapping out a makeshift desk area right here with some of these countertops from the base game. It looks kind of crazy now, but it does all come together and it looks really nice. I hope your Sims can use a computer desk, but if they can't, you know, it's just supposed to be for decoration anyway, but they should be able to. I did use chairs to slot into that table, so they should be able to use it. I'll playtest it just to make sure. I just thought for some reason that I could have the computer slot there, but apparently not. So yeah, we just had to do it. We had to do it the makeshift way, but it still looks nice. You know, you can't really tell unless you look at it, you know. I also used another one of those signs from outside, and I put it over here because I feel like that was kind of realistic. You know, the business would have like a big sign saying what the business is on the inside. So I'm using this one with the weight on it. I do go back and like move it closer to the wall because I realized it was kind of floating in front of the walls. We had these racks with towels on them, and I'm like, yeah, the gym would definitely like charge you a fee. You get like maybe the first one free or something like that. If you need like an extra one, you got to pay like $1 or something like that. So I put some of those towel racks up, and then this is like where the upstairs lobby or like waiting area is. I'd imagine maybe they're waiting to go into the sauna, or like they're just kind of putting on their shoes or waiting for someone. So I kind of just have this be like a little chill spot. I use a lot of the same furniture in this build because like I wanted everything to kind of be more uniform and I guess realistic in a way, because like you would see that in businesses and places in real life. A lot of places just use the same furniture over and over again. I feel like in real life though, it's probably not as noticeable as it is in The Sims, but yeah. And then I even put like a little gym bag. I'm putting some clutter up here. You're also going to need Town Life stuff because I use a lot of stuff from Town Life stuff, y'all. So yeah, because like all the exercising equipment except for the pull-up bars and the ballerina bar is from Town Life stuff. I think the dance floor I use is from Late Night, but yeah, most of it is from Town Life stuff. But if you don't have it, it'll just be replaced with something from base game, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm using these doors. I think they're from Ambitions. These are like the really cheap doors. So I'm using a couple of those to kind of lead into the sauna. And then now I'm just putting down some of these treadmills. I think I used 5 of them in all. I didn't really put a whole lot, but I think I used 5 in all. And then I also went back and I just added some more clutter. I do put a TV in here. I think I put a TV on that wall where the treadmills are, so Sims could pretend to watch TV and work out at the same time. And then I also wanted to go in and add some of these bamboo plants, so I put a couple of those in the sauna rooms as well. So in there, I just have the plants, and I have like a chair where Sims could just kind of sit down, you know, maybe cool off, or maybe just like, you know, put their shoes on or whatever. So we have a little chair though. I do go in and add an accent wall. So we have like some of that wood paneling from the outside, but we also have a brick accent wall, you know. And then I do change the color of the floor. And then I do go in and I add a wall speaker inside of the saunas. That way your Sims can listen to music while they're kind of chilling. I also have an actual speaker in the ballet room, so it should work in here. So everything should work. To finish off the room though, I do use this towel rack object from the Master Suite stuff. You know, I can imagine Sims want to store stuff up there, so I put one of those up there. I'm using some of these chairs from the Seasons pack as well, and that's pretty much everything for the sauna. Now, we kind of move on to the kitchen next, y'all, and I really like this wallpaper. It's kind of funky, but it kind of matched, so I kept it. upstairs, and then I kind of just make like a similar kitchen to the one that's downstairs. You know, I'm using the same countertops. It's just a little bit smaller. Instead of using like the island counters, I use an actual table, and I think I used a table from the World Adventures pack, I want to say. And then I have like actual chairs at the table, so your Sims can like sit down and eat. There's a coffee machine. Again, no stove, but your Sims can eat quick meals, you know. So at least you have that. There's also a coffee machine if your Sims are kind of sleepy or tired. So you can always use one of those as well. So now we move on to the last two remaining rooms. So the biggest room upstairs is where I have the weight machines, and I'm also using some pull-up bars. I do go back to y'all and replace the curtains that were here with some of the ones from the store. I don't remember what set these are from, maybe the mid-century set, but I'm using some of these really long curtains because I felt like this was kind of realistic. I'd imagine like Sims want to have privacy when they work out, so I feel like the gym, they have it where like you could pull the curtains across if you want to, or like maybe like move them a little bit if you want to let some sunlight in. So I do go in and add some of those, and then that way the building isn't so dark, you know, because I feel like whenever you use a lot of curtains and blinds, it kind of makes the room a little bit darker in The Sims. So I didn't really want that to be the case this time, so I do go in and just kind of add a little bit on each window, you know. I just gotta say, yo, I just think it looks so nice in here. Like, this is just interesting because like I was really dreading furnishing this lot, like I said earlier, but I just feel like the more I furnished it, the more things I placed down, the better it just looked. And in the end, I really like this lot. I feel like if anything, y'all, I really need to build more community lots in The Sims because I feel like I'm mainly a home builder. I will build a community lot if I need one, but I feel like I just need to get back into it because like I used to do that a lot when I started my channel, just building like random lots. I think I need to get back into that, you know. But also in this room, I wanted to put some of these pull-up bars. We don't really have that many workout objects in The Sims 3. Like, yeah, we have treadmills, weight machines, pull-up bars, and I think like the rock climbing wall, and that's probably it. Maybe that little spinning object from Showtime, but there's not that many like workout equipment objects in The Sims 3. But like I said, I wanted to use that rock climbing wall, y'all, but unfortunately it was just too big for this lot, so no rock climbing wall today. And then the last room that we tackle is the dance studio slash ballet room. So I knew that I wanted to use that in here for this little room, so I'm putting some of those up on the wall. We have these really big mirrors. I do go in and I add a clock, and then I swap out the original stereo. I use one that is from the base game, but it's just a different model, and I thought it looked a little bit better in here. But in the end, y'all, that's pretty much everything for the entire build. If you enjoyed it, y'all, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. Please stick around for the screenshots so you can see how everything will look from a different angle, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!